No, don't worry about it, man. I'm happy for you, really. Yes, I am happy for you. I mean, at any point if you want to come back, yes, you're welcome back here. And you go off and have a awesome career. Okay? Okay. Take care. Hello again, YouTube. I'm Jake, and this is Reading Too Much Entertains. Well, today we say goodbye for now to Toby, no longer an intern. He has gotten an offer elsewhere, and well, given the financial climate of YouTube as well as California internship laws, it made more sense to see him off happily than try and force him to stay here. I mean, not like I could give him college credits, not really a course for mystical, metaphysical beings reviewing things on the internet. At least not outside of Scandinavian countries. And not like I could keep paying him what I have been. Wait. I don't even monetize these videos. How was I paying him earlier? Anywho, enough economics. Let's jump into Jyuohger's episode 23. Kyoju Hunter, Giant Beast Hunter. For once in space, we are introduced to a different alien on its way to Earth, searching for someone. We jump to Mario's, where the Jewmen are excited about going to their first firework festival. I know we're just to assume the Jewmen don't know what fireworks are, but wouldn't Sayla not want to go, considering, loud noises? Speaking of loud noises, time for a Death Galleon attack. Not too shockingly, Janice is still kind of bored of all the explosions. We jump to the earlier other alien stealing people's lunches. And for his trouble causing, he gets a little blown up, and his food destroyed. The Jyuohgers try to engage the sailor player, but both sides are hit by the other alien's entrance, catching the Death Galleon's attention. Also, I think he's supposed to be a pirate. Then why also have the Death Galleon be a naval officer? I mean, I sort of get having one anyways this episode. It just feels busy, I guess? Also, pretty sure his energy blasts come from his pelvis. When he states he doesn't know what the Death Galleons are, he introduces himself as Bangray, a galactic giant beast hunter. And he attacks mostly the Jyuohgers. See, he's upset over his food getting ruined, but, well, he didn't see who did it, so he's a jerk and decides to attack everyone. After failing to sneak off as Bangray takes on the Jyuohgers, the player lets out a smoke shot to escape. Leo tries to take advantage of this, however is grabbed, and then things get worrisome as the defeated Climber player appears. By worrisome, I mean something specific that those who stay for the Kamen Rider Ghost reviews may be familiar with. Suit reuse. Unless this guy is taken out quickly, his ability, which seems to draw memories of defeated monsters out of people's minds, which I'm assuming since when they were defeated they turned into gold dust in this episode, can and likely will be used a lot to avoid having to make new suits or new monsters of the week and just have him causing havoc and then summon an old enemy as a lackey. At least that's my worry. But yeah, they beat the memory monster, and during the fight, Bangray wanders off somewhere. And unimportant. And emotional but unimportant. Still, you shouldn't just push away that scene. It involves a kid who doesn't want to admit that his leg's banged up because of explosions, because then he'd miss the firework display with his mom, who's usually busy and doesn't get much time to spend with her. It's about how you shouldn't hide things from your folks just because you don't want to worry them, or cause them to change their schedules, and how they'll be happier that you're safe. But as far as I can tell, it's unimportant to the story. However, the scene does reveal character information about Onmu, that back home it's just her and her mom, as well as the reason she tends to speak her mind readily, as well as getting closer to that secret Yamato's hiding about his folks. And then as the sailor plans to start firing again, Bang-Ray appears and the two start fighting. A thought hit me. We haven't really had a consistent outfit for Misao yet, have we? Just in the openings and endings. And so, seeing their destructive fighting, most of the Jyuohgers engage the two. Once Onmu and Yamato appear, the Jewmen shift to take on the player, while the humans take on Bang-Ray. Might be the Pirates of the Caribbean fan in me, but I really like the tentacle-like beard Bang-Ray has. As the others take down the player, Misao gets thrown around by his fishing pole. Guess not enough girls are watching. Yamato goes ape and starts to match Bang-Ray. However, at hearing Yamato's "we're all connected" speech, Bang-Ray starts getting the upper hand. Back in space, Naria is asked to do something for Genis, along with the continue for the player. Seeing the player now giant, what did you think would happen? They activate their trump card. Misao, girls are watching, and let him handle the player. However, the rest are prevented from fighting Bang-Ray by Naria appearing to offer Bang-Ray a place in the Blood Games. Revved up for more thrills, Naria and Bang-Ray take off into space. But the rest can't rest yet. As Misao's held at cannon point, the others come in to save the day. And, as the player attempts to retreat again, they finish him off with a blow through the back. What is this episode trying to say about Navy? Maybe they're just not fans of contact collection. And so our episode ends with Sayla having no problem with fireworks, and more Misao self-shaming, as well as Bang-Ray being welcomed into the Death Galleons. The most I have to say is, with Bang-Ray being a multi-episode antagonist now, I'm worried that means they'll try to save money by reusing players instead of making new ones, but I've stated that already. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Huh? Oh. Hey, the first real promo for next year's Kamen Rider Xade is out in subtitled. Let's take a look at that.
2016年10月僕は人を救いたい最強のドクターライダー誕生失敗の連続だったが誰よりも患者に寄り添う心優しいドクターだったただゲームをする時を除いては
ドクター失格ね
事件の目撃者にはどう対応を
我々衛生省の方で情報操作しております
ドクターたちの信念がぶつかり合い患者をめぐるドラマが加速する
患者は僕が救います
ドクターでゲーマーのこの男が立ち上がる
変身
ゲームセットで変身しゲームの力で戦う全く新しい仮面ライダーがこいつだレベルアップマイティジャンプマイティキーマイティマイティアクション仮面ライダーエグゼイド
全部のゲームをクリアして人類を救うスーパードクターになって。
So, moving on to Ghost. Last episode, we left our team kind of exploding. Takaru has 18 days left as we enter episode 42, Life, the Universe, and wait, no. Episode 42. Gyoten. Seinen no Shinjitsu. Amazed. The truth about Seinen. That's the name they gave Sage the Sage. Even though most everyone in the show just calls him Gramps. So really, I'm off the hook for not naming him his normal name. Thanks to the quick use of Sanzo, Alan gets the team to safety, away from Two Feathers. And scene. Back at the temple, we get that lining up of episodes wherein the reason Spectre is so banged up was not wanting to worry Takaru while he was still trying to return to life. When asked, Edith explains that just as Deep Spectre's power comes from the God Misers, the clones likely do as well. And then another attack by Two Feathers and his two God Misers. Alan tries to even the odds with Sanzo's 3 aides, however, it simply isn't perfect enough. However, as Two Feathers tries to choke Alan to death, a nerve is hit and Alan begins a fresh new assault, which results in a rather dramatic hit. Welp. Takaru is assaulted again, but cannot escape this time as he's knocked out of Mugen. And the following blast is covered by Edith, who also uses a portal to help them escape as Two Feathers thinks they're destroyed. However, Edith doesn't handle that attack too well either. Takaru awakens sometime later with Akari over him. We also confirm that Alan is still alive, and B, that the mascot is kinda creepy. And out of the portal comes... Yep. They are the same person. And we only learn this not because they aren't around at the same time or that they look exactly the same. Just he forgot what clothes he had on. Also, he has infinite gamma icons so he doesn't revert to human when destroyed, I guess. So what is the mascot anyway? And what even was the place they met the first time? Back in the Gamma world, all I can make heads or tails of is Two Feathers' inability to connect to the Great Eye because the retcon backstory has lost me. Not sure it plans to try and find me either. Speaking of wanting answers, back to Edith the Sage.
わしの力ではどうにもできない領域に至ってしまったんじゃ。
ねえ、もしかして最初の99日の時はおっちゃんが生き返らせることができたってこと？
そうじゃ。タケルがどんな状態なのか、果たして生き返ることができるのかどうか全くわからんのじゃ。
Now, I am not angry over the idea of Sage and Edith being the same person. If I remember the writer correctly, he has pulled this stunt before with Kamen Rider Wizard, with much more frustrating results, but that's a discussion for another day. I am not even mad at him having not told Takaru the truth about the situation, or that he could have brought him back himself. It seemed like a poor choice in the long run, but it's in character enough. I am kinda mad that during that last montage of days in, I think, episode 12, when the first 99 days came out, the second time he died, you know, Sage did nothing, despite Takaru being possibly his best hope to stop the God Misers. But I'm not mad that after those 99 days, he didn't say anything, because having been a long-term liar occasionally myself, when you hit that point, you're too deep in. You are certain in your mind that you cannot tell people the truth. Here's what I'm mad about.
みんな、俺のためにごめん。分かっていなかった。こんなにもみんなが俺のこと本気で心配してくれてるって。
Really? You just didn't know people were worried. All those times Akari was frantically trying to figure out how the Gamma world worked or how the Big Stone worked. Hitting on her science keyboard, trying to figure out how to get you back in your body, making calendar notes of how many days are left, putting themselves, Akari, Onari, Spectre, Alan, Onari students, putting themselves in danger time and time again. Hell, even Onari and his students are shocked at this sudden realization. But, it gets worse.
おっちゃんのおかげで俺はいろいろな人の思いを知りつながることができた。
I don't have solid enough words to impress upon you how much of a singularity of dumb this is. I mean, so despite Onari and Akari basically living at the temple since episode 4, we never see them leaving the temple or coming to it. We don't see any part of their lives that isn't fixing Takaru being dead, outside of one scene of Akari at college. Takaru just didn't notice that they were worried about his situation, and only through being dead was he able to connect to people emotionally. He's supposed to be 18 years old. This really goes to prove my argument that Takaru was a complete NEET before the show. For those who do not know what NEET means, that means it's a Japanese term short for not educating, educated, employed, or training. Basically, someone who is a complete shut-in, has no interest in making friends, has only interest in their personal hobbies, and isn't going to school regularly, doesn't have any kind of employment, is not training to get a job or go to higher education, has no interest in doing any of those, and just wants to stay where he lives as much as he can without going outside and doing anything else. That's a NEET. Despite Takaru about to turn 18, and despite him being heir apparent to his father's temple, we never see him doing anything. Especially before he dies. We are not given any evidence that he attends any kind of school or that he has attended any kind of school at all. We are not given any information that he has friends outside of those who spend the majority of their time at the temple. The people he grew up with. The only people he ever seems to interact with. We never see him training to take over as head monk of the temple. We only ever see him training physically and mentally after he gets his butt kicked while he's dead because he needs to get stronger to come back alive. The only kind of education we see him getting is from his little book of historical figures, which I'm sorry, is not enough. And this whole situation of his friends being angry at the mystical mumbo-jumbo merchant who gave him a chance to come back to life after he was killed, who seems to have a connection to his dad, it pains him. He does not understand the human emotions, like some malfunctioning robot. Why wasn't he a robot in this show? Why is he an actual 18-year-old if they're going to write him so inhumanly? And I don't mean inhuman like, ha ha ha, I'm sadistic, and I mean this is not a human. Takaru has no real personality that you can call human. This show would make a lot more sense if he was some weird robot that was trying to become a real person. And that's why he slowly understands these emotions. Not if he was a 18-year-old who's been around these people for years. I am dumbfounded by this scene. And I am brought to a serious situation because of it. For you see, I do not care anymore to put effort into this show. This show has given up its right for me to put effort into making the reviews. I will still tell you what happens into them, but at the minimum of effort. I mean, I'm not a jerk. I am going to finish this show. It's just, I don't care. So, at the very least, how does this episode end? With everyone forgiving Edith Sage and Takaru going off to face off against Two Feathers alone because Mugen has evolved thanks to understanding the anger now. With that, he blows up a Ganma that turns into a hammer, another Ganma that turns into a bow, a third Ganma that turns into a scepter. I get the hammer and bow since they're other icon counters, Benkei and Robin Hood, but what's the scepter supposed to be? Himiko? And also a gun miser cause Billy the Kid. Also, the gun and bow, I'm realizing, the gun misers here were among the weird projectile last episode, so there you go, I guess. During the fight, as Takaru effortlessly takes on two gun misers because his evolutionary jumps are just that big, we get flashbacks of when Takaru's dad and Edith met and fought, and how he could just summon a full icon aid from historical artifacts. So I guess it's Edith's fault that Takaru destroys artifacts to make icons now. Of course. And so, both fights end with the person from the Ganma world losing to a human. And whatever the hell Takaru counts as now. The conversations echoing each other, Takaru holds out his hand to his fallen foe just as his father did to Edith. But instead of it being taken in warmth so they can work to make a better world, Two Feathers smacks his hand away and disappears off to the Ganma world. With only 3 Gan misers left to him, Two Feathers rams his hand into his own body, proclaiming that he will not make a perfect world, but be the world, and crushes his own icon. At this point, the show might as well be filler. Takaru has beaten Two Feathers as well as near all the Gan misers, and Takaru's power continues to grow. And unless they pull some bullshit, none of the Gan misers or Two Feathers, no matter what he does, should have power enough left to be able to fight Takaru at this point. They shouldn't. Takaru will come back to life and we'll never learn what Yurisen is. And no, we didn't get an explanation of what the mascot Yurisen is in this. We get an explanation of who Sage is, but not his little assistant. Thank you for sticking with reading too much into things. Next week, since I've given up on Kamen Rider Ghost, I will also review something I do still care enough about to put effort into a detailed review of. The crossover movie Bokengers vs. Super Sentai. I'm Jake, and as always, stay safe.